Well, long-awaited flight paths of the new Western Sydney Airport have been released. They, of course, were going to always cause a huge amount of concern for those who live directly underneath them. Judy Hannan is the member for Wollondilly and joins me now. Judy Hannan, good morning.
Good morning.
We've been waiting for these for such a long time, and we always knew, and the preliminary flight paths did indicate that maybe the sort of northwestern reaches of the Wollondilly Shire might be affected. What have you managed to glean from what you've seen this morning?
Well, I'm struggling with the map as well, and I'm having a look, and I'm concerned about places like Mount Hunter, Buxton, who haven't been on the radar or talked about, being affected, and they're under some of those lines. But it's very fiddly, and I have to say with the iPad I've got, it's not working very well at all. So I'll be having a really good look at it. I know that they say that it's still under investigation and there's going to be some environmental concerns looked at. So I'll be having a really good look and then advocating for, removing or getting it as far away from Wollondilly as possible.
Do you know what kind of scope there is for that? Because I know, for example, the Mayor of the Blue Mountains is very opposed and has had huge concerns with some of the flight paths, who said that basically the flight paths will really compromise the World Heritage listing of the Blue Mountains National Park, for example. And there's also a big difference between apparently how planes sound from being in the flat or being in a valley or a ravine or the cliff face of the Blue Mountains.
Well, you only have to see, and if you live on a farm and a dog barks, it could be kilometres away, but it sounds like it's sitting right in the room room next door to you. So that's true. It does travel in a different way in the country.
Now, what kind of scope is there for change? This isn't up for consultation, is my understanding. These are the flight paths that have been decided on.
Yeah, it says it's preliminary flight paths, but I'm not sure. I haven't been updated on what sort of, chance we have for any stakeholder input, but I'll be finding that out today.
And it's also hard to get a sense from the website as to how much noise you might experience in certain parts. Because, for example, just to the west of Wilton, so between Wilton and Tarmore pretty much is one of the departure flight paths. That's a huge urban release. I wonder how many people will be told about the decibels they'll be subjected to before they buy their new property at Wilton there.
Well, I don't think they've been told about a lot of things at Wilton before they buy property, but that's a whole nother story. I'll be having a really good look at this today. I'll be asking for some consultation about it. And as I said, I am really concerned about places like Wilton, Buxton, Mount Hunter. Mount Hunter seems to be right underneath those purple lines. And the tool is very clunky at this moment. You obviously have a choice of putting in the time of day, the runway mode, the years, and that sort of information. It does give you some sort of hint about what the noise levels will be, but it's just so clunky, and maybe it'll improve on a bigger computer during the day. But people are very, very concerned about it, and the Mayor of Blue Mountains has every right to be concerned. He's protecting a whole lot of the World Heritage area, but also really the playground for Sydney.
Now, I appreciate that not all of this is in your electorate, but just to let people know as well, of course, the Western Sydney International Airport, not subject to the curfews that maybe the Mascot Airport is subject to in all instances. So there will be overnight flights between 11 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. In not great news for the people of Appin and Helensburgh, one of the departure routes goes pretty much just to the north of Appin and directly over Helensburgh as it flies out to sea, which I'm sure would be a concern for them and over the Royal National Park there.
I guess we first need to have a look in finer detail of the maps, but we also need to look at how high the planes are at that particular point. Mind you, night time, I'm sure again night travels a lot further. So they are of concern, and there's a lot of information there. If we can get the computers to work well and have a look at it.
Yeah. And just one final question. I'm wondering what options people have if they do find that they live under one of these things. And look, I should stress that our region is nowhere near as affected as many parts of Western Sydney. That's for sure. Places like Erskine Park, which we subjected to about 70 decibels by 2023. Which leads to enough noise inside to pretty much disturb a normal conversation. So they're certainly in for a change in lifestyle, you'd have to say. Yeah.
I guess it's, for me, looking Warragamba Silverdale seems to be a little bit further out of the flight paths than what we thought originally. But as I said, we'll just have to have a look. Everybody lives out there for rural, quiet living, so we don't want to lose that. And we certainly want some opportunity, but it's very difficult for us to get to the airport anyway. So we seem to be given some of the negativity, but not the opportunity of it. So we're having a really good look during the day.
Yeah, well, everyone hop online and have a bit of a look. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you.
That is the member for Wollondilly, Judy Hannan. So as I mentioned...